General Zod Anatomy. You know what? General Drew Zod, or simply General Zod, is truly one of those guys who puts the super in supervillain. We mean, this guy could do almost all the things that Superman could. And if not for the plot armor that Superman wears, Zod could have a fair chance of taking down DC's most powerful hero. And yet, Zod displays an array of exceptional abilities like bioelectric aura, control over the Phantom Zone, dense molecular structure, supersonic speed, and so much more. In this video, we will explore each aspect of Zod's anatomy and physical capabilities, and we will try our best to explore how each of them works, or how his physiology and internal structure allow him to do everything he's capable of. Get into your fortress of solitude as we dive into this Kryptonian powerhouse who can dwarf most DC supervillains. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Are his physical abilities different from Superman's? So Zod is a Kryptonian, right? And as a Kryptonian exposed to the yellow sun, his abilities are similar to those of an average Kryptonian. Yes, he might be the most skilled Kryptonian who is in his best shape and all that, but at the end of the day, he is no different from others of his race. And to think about it, even Kal-El, aka the Man of Steel, is also a Kryptonian, and he has the same anatomy as Zod. Yet, there are several differences as far as these two mighty men's abilities are concerned, and it mostly has to do with where they spent a good chunk of their lives. Zod's abilities are primarily derived from solar energy absorption. When exposed to radiation from a yellow sun, Zod's unique biological makeup, which includes organs not found in humans, allows him to store and utilize solar energy. However, without continuous exposure to yellow solar radiation, his powers gradually diminish. In comparison, Superman had the advantage of growing up on Earth under a yellow sun for an extended period, and while Superman was bathing in the yellow sun and growing all strong and nerdy, Zod was stuck in the Phantom Zone, all brooding and weakening. And this prolonged exposure to solar radiation made Superman stronger than Zod. Thus, Superman possesses greater durability than Zod. So who's physically superior? Or shall we say, who has more chances of winning a battle? Well, definitely Superman, but is it because he's a hero and wears a plot armor, or is there more to the story? Superman was raised on a farm and later pursued a career as a reporter. While he received some combat training, his upbringing and experiences differed significantly from Zod's. Zod, having been trained as a soldier on Krypton, possesses superior skills, discipline, strategic thinking, and combat prowess. In terms of abilities, Zod surpasses Superman due to his specialized training. Furthermore, Zod is known for his ruthlessness, tactical mindset, and ability to exploit weaknesses. In contrast, Superman is often characterized as a morally upright, some would even say morally uptight individual who restrains his power. However, when pushed to his limits, Superman can become an incredibly formidable opponent, and once he does that, he can beat anyone into a pulp. Literally anyone, and probably even Darkseid wouldn't stand a chance. As far as the cinematic universe is concerned, there's another huge difference between the physiologies of Zod and Superman. In the film Man of Steel, it is depicted that Superman carries the Codex within his body. As long as he possesses the Codex, he becomes functionally immortal, unable to remain deceased for extended periods. The Codex has the power to revive any Kryptonian, even under a red sun. Alas, General Zod's parents did not inject him with the genetic information of all Kryptonians. His body has a dense molecular structure. Zod's physical attributes are, well, attributed to his superhumanly dense molecular structure, resulting in a near invulnerable body. This exceptional density extends to both his cellular and anatomical composition. As a Kryptonian, Zod exhibits extreme resistance and near absolute immunity to various forms and degrees of harm, including lacerations, blunt force trauma, energy-based attacks, falls from great heights, explosions, exposure to the vacuum of space, toxins, and all known earthly diseases. It's because of the high density of cells and by extension tissues that he survives almost whatever is thrown at him. To give you a perspective, think of it like shooting an arrow into a column of water as compared to a column of some thick mud. The arrow will need more force to penetrate the column of mud. Another key element contributing to Zod's invulnerability is his bioelectrical aura, which emanates from his body. This aura acts as an invisible force field encompassing a few millimeters around his skin. By harnessing his aura, Zod can consciously enhance its defensive capabilities, providing additional protection against certain levels of physical and energy-based assaults. Zod's utilization of his bioelectrical aura extends beyond personal defense. He could expand his aura to blanket other individuals or objects. Can he control the Phantom Zone? Zod possesses the ability to control the mysterious dimension known as the Phantom Zone. This extra-dimensional realm is devoid of physical matter and is solely inhabited by a powerful entity called the Ether. Within the Phantom Zone, Ether dictates all cause and effect, rendering it a nearly impenetrable and unpredictable domain. Individuals who enter the Phantom Zone lose their corporeal form and exist solely as psychic manifestations of themselves. In other words, only the minds and consciousness reside in the Phantom Zone, without the possibility of aging or dying. Naturally, telepathy serves as the primary mode of communication here. Though Jor-El possessed limited knowledge regarding the inner workings of the Phantom Zone, he developed a projection device that could exile individuals into the realm to serve their sentences. And eventually, General Zod found himself in the Phantom Zone. Over an extended period spent within the Phantom Zone, Zod acquired the ability to control and manipulate the powers of the realm. He became proficient at conjuring small pockets of the Phantom Zone at will. This was also hinted at in the game Injustice: Gods Among Us.
As you wish. It seems you're on.
Is General Zod immune to kryptonite? Zod, like all Kryptonians, is not immune to the effects of kryptonite. But how exactly does the stuff weaken Kryptonians like Zod and Superman? Exposure to green kryptonite not only inflicts physical pain on Zod, but also weakens his superhuman attributes, rendering him comparable to an ordinary human. Prolonged or significant exposure to green kryptonite can eventually prove fatal. Kryptonite essentially disrupts the cellular processes responsible for a Kryptonian's powers. The radioactive subatomic particles emitted by kryptonite are extremely small and fast, allowing them to traverse most living tissue without significant effect. However, due to Zod's dense molecular structure, these particles become trapped within his body, enabling them to exert their lethal influence. Consequently, the energy stored within Zod's cells is expelled, resulting in weakness, powerlessness, and eventually severe illness, followed by death. The only way Zod can protect himself from the effects of the radioactive stuff is through shielding himself or covering the kryptonite with lead, because kryptonite radiation can be effectively blocked by the metal.
You believe your son is safe? I will find.
Can he reproduce? Well, what good is an anatomy video if we don't know if all the parts of Zod's body are as efficient and as strong as a Valerian steel sword? While imprisoned in the Phantom Zone, General Zod and his mate Ursa managed to conceive a child named Lord Zod. Zod used Phantom Zone technology to create a space-worthy vessel capable of maintaining a physical form outside of the Phantom Zone. Sending the rocket ship carrying their son out of the Phantom Zone, it would have crashed in downtown Metropolis if not for Superman. Recognizing the child's alien origin, Superman, although reluctantly, entrusted him to the care of Sarge Steel in the Department of Metahuman Affairs. But eventually, Superman decided to raise the child with his wife Lois. Under the human identity of Chris Kent, which was created by Batman, he attended boarding school while wearing a watch that suppressed his natural abilities derived from exposure to Earth's yellow sun. It was here that he met Tim Drake. However, Lord Zod's arrival on Earth inadvertently released other Kryptonian criminals, including his parents, General Zod and Ursa, from the Phantom Zone. Eventually, Chris made the selfless decision to pursue the rogue Kryptonians back into the Phantom Zone, effectively trapping himself within it.
The genetic template for every being yet to be born is encoded in the Registry of Citizens.
General Zod has a keen eye for everything, literally. General Zod possesses exceptional visual capabilities, enabling him to perceive a wide range of electromagnetic signals and exercise precise control over his perception and focus. Zod's vision extends across the electromagnetic spectrum, granting him the ability to perceive and identify radio and television signals, as well as other broadcast and transmitted frequencies. Naturally, he can elude detection by radar or satellite surveillance. Additionally, Zod can observe the unique aura generated by living organisms. Now that's an amazing ability. He doesn't just see if a person is breathing or hearing their heart beating, but he can literally see if a person is alive or not. He's got both telescopic and microscopic vision, which means that Zod can see distant objects with remarkable clarity, surpassing the limitations imposed by conventional optics. And he can see objects and images on an exceedingly small scale, extending down to the atomic level. Then there's the X-ray vision, through which he could see through most forms of matter, excluding lead. He possesses the capacity to perceive objects concealed behind solid and opaque barriers, essentially rendering them transparent. Now, should we even mention that he could see through pitch black darkness? Well, we guess Riddick would be jealous. We believe the only two things that Zod cannot see are through space and time.
And mourn for them.
Does he have heat vision like Superman? General Zod possesses the remarkable ability known as heat vision, which is exclusive to Kryptonians. Heat vision enables him to project solar energy in the form of both invisible radiation and thick orange fiery beams of intensified heat from his eyes. The beam from heat vision exhibits exceptional precision, accuracy, and power, capable of effortlessly burning and cutting through even the most durable of metals, including highly resistant Kryptonian alloys. It is important to note that while the heat beams cannot harm a Kryptonian, they inflict intense burning pain upon impact. The origin of this ability appears to be associated with the nerves located in the facial region near the eyes or the neural connections between the brain and the eyes. The energy within the face induces a distortion of pressure, causing the veins near the eyes to protrude and stretch during the use or focus of heat vision. When activated, the energy builds up within the nerves surrounding the eyes and concentrates within the ocular region. Upon activating the heat vision beam, all the accumulated energy is instantaneously channeled through the eyes and released outward. During his initial exposure to Earth's atmosphere, General Zod had little to no control over his heat vision, inadvertently destroying a building whenever he glanced around. However, Zod eventually acquired full control over his ability by the time he was deliberately targeting several civilians cornered in a train station. Unfortunately, Zod's confrontation with Superman culminated in the latter snapping Zod's poor neck.
Concentrate fire on the main door!
Is Zod just a military man, or does he have knowledge of science as well? Zod's affinity for science and its influence on his life is depicted in Action Comics Volume 2, Issue 23.2, which was aptly titled Zod. During his childhood, Zod harbored a fascination with monsters, which was the result of his father's occupation as a scientist, which involved dissecting these strange and dangerous animals. However, in an unfortunate incident, a dangerous creature threatened their mobile lab. Zod's father had always believed that there was a need to understand and colonize hazardous areas on Krypton for the safety of its expanding population. Tragically, Zod's parents perished in a creature attack, leaving him orphaned and rather twisted. A year later, brothers Jor and Zor-El received a distress signal that shifted their mission to a rescue operation. They discovered the wreckage of the Zod family's lab and a young Zod, who had somehow managed to survive on his own. In the next 15 years, Zod rose to the rank of colonel in the Kryptonian military. He became increasingly worried about the non-existent threat posed by the Char, a violent race that had previously clashed with Krypton some 27 years ago. 2 years later, Zod recruited 2 loyal lieutenants, Non and Feora, who shared his convictions. Together, they assembled a group of like-minded soldiers who believed in restoring the old ways of war and destruction. In his view, confronting monsters compelled individuals to take action, revealing their true potential and enabling them to become great. Strangely, the Char resurfaced, and Zod, Non, and Feora emerged triumphant against the threat. Through drone strikes, Kryptonians devastated the Char's home planet, nearly eradicating the race. But here's the twist. Unbeknownst to others, Zod had orchestrated these events, using the conflict to further his personal obsession and genocidal agenda. Eventually, the truth came to light during Zod's trial for treason and inciting war. Jor-El revealed that the monstrous creature responsible for the deaths of over 10,000 citizens was not of Char origin, but a hybrid created using stolen materials from Zor-El's laboratory. Zod had orchestrated the war to fuel his own obsessions. Based on Jor-El's account, the Kryptonian Science Council sentenced Zod and his followers to permanent exile in the Phantom Zone. So basically, this guy actually created the monsters by splicing their genes. He not only killed several Kryptonians, but also exterminated an entire race of violent yet innocent creatures. Oh, and by the way, this origin of Zod pertains to the version before the New 52 event. Can he fly? Does he have a supersonic speed? General Zod possesses the capability of flight, which is of course the result of his plethora of abilities and physical capabilities. Initially, in the name of aerial mobility, Zod could only perform powerful super jumps. He could effortlessly climb tall structures in just a few leaps. However, he soon developed the ability to manipulate the gravitational force surrounding him, enabling him to levitate and soar through the air. Zod's flight capabilities extend beyond Earth's atmosphere, granting him the capacity to maneuver in outer space. Additionally, he exhibits remarkable speed during flight, capable of achieving supersonic velocities of at least Mach 3. Now, it is quite possible that he could go beyond this as well. In the climactic battle scene of Man of Steel, when General Zod learns to fly, he practically manipulates the gravitational field that enables Kryptonians on Earth to defy gravity, hover above the ground, and lift heavy objects into the air. This feat of levitation is achieved through the repurposing of solar energy, which provides the necessary power. During the sequence, Zod is seen levitating debris and other objects in the Earth's surrounding area as he takes flight. By tapping into the abundant solar energy present on Earth, Kryptonians can manipulate the gravitational forces acting upon objects in themselves. This manipulation allows them to counteract the force of gravity, effectively defying it and achieving levitation. This is also how he could manipulate the position and movement of objects, even heavy ones, through the application of repurposed solar energy. Does Zod have super breath? How does it work? Zod possesses the ability commonly referred to as super breath, which allows him to exhale powerful gusts of air with remarkable force and temperature control. This is a unique Kryptonian ability which is a result of superhuman physiology and mastery over his respiratory system. The process behind Zod's super breath can be explained by the relationship between the pressure and temperature of a gas. When gases under pressure rapidly expand, such as when released through a small opening, they undergo a cooling effect. This occurs because the expansion of gas molecules leads to a decrease in collisions per unit volume, resulting in a drop in temperature. And we know that collision causes heat, just like friction does. Zod harnesses his superhuman strength and invulnerability to use his lungs as a highly pressurized vessel. By inhaling a significant volume of air and pressurizing it to extreme levels within his indestructible lungs, Zod can achieve extraordinary pressure levels. He then precisely controls his diaphragm, or whatever it is that he has, and chest muscles to exhale the pressurized air through tightly pursed lips, further intensifying the force and pressure. And this is exactly what Superman does. Anyway, the rapid release of the highly pressurized air causes a substantial change in pressure, making the air extremely cold. Furthermore, he can control the air inside him to launch a mini tornado. How strong is General Zod? Of course, much of Zod's powers come from his ability to metabolize the yellow sun's energy, but what makes him truly invincible, or wait, nearly invincible, is his bioelectric aura. This aura surrounds Zod and objects or organisms in his immediate vicinity, providing a protective barrier that allows him to shield others from harm without physically covering every inch of their bodies. The strength and range of this bioelectric aura can vary. We don't know about Zod, but Superman has survived a damn supernova explosion, so you know Zod cannot be far behind. Another reason for their resilience lies in the unforgiving red sun called Rao of their homeworld. Kryptonians, having evolved under the influence of Krypton's red sun, developed an extremely dense molecular structure, including cellular bonds that are nearly unbreakable. This resilience grants them immunity to various forms of injury on Earth, such as piercing, impact, puncture, and incineration. The absorption of yellow solar energy is crucial for maintaining this invulnerability, as the metabolized solar energy fuels and strengthens their cellular bonds. Therefore, the principles that explain Superman's invulnerability are applicable to Zod as well, as they both share the Kryptonian origin and possess similar powers. So how does one kill Zod? Well, of course, there are several ways to do that, since he doesn't wear a very heavy plot armor. Firstly, Superman could snap his neck like he did in Man of Steel. Because Superman himself has Kryptonian physiology and can counter the bioelectric aura and everything else, when he and Zod are fighting, it's like two men fighting each other, and the stronger one wins. Secondly, there's kryptonite. The radioactive material from his homeworld simply sucks the yellow sun's energy stored inside his body, weakening and killing him. However, there's one more way that this could be achieved. If Zod somehow gets an overload of the yellow sun's energy, it could kill him. His cells would become supercharged and his body would be brimming with energy acquired through the metabolism of solar energy, with the end result of his cells exploding from the inside. Guess much of anything is truly not good. Why doesn't his body decay even after death? The answer to this question is almost obvious. When humans are pronounced clinically dead, it's not like all their cells simultaneously decompose. The process takes a bit of time to begin and complete because not all cells die the moment we die. That's why post-mortem organ donation is made possible. Now, in the case of Kryptonians, their cells are far more resilient, charged with the solar energy and all that. So when after their neck gets snapped by a certain someone, their body remains intact for prolonged periods of time. This could also be seen as a highly advanced regenerative healing factor. We guess Wolverine has a few lessons to learn from Zod and Superman. General Zod ranks among the upper echelons of power in the DC universe, particularly among Kryptonian characters. In terms of strength, he is often considered on par with or slightly below Superman, which is saying something. Compared to other major DC villains, Zod's strength is formidable. He can go toe-to-toe with some of the strongest villains, maybe even the likes of Steppenwolf and Darkseid. And let's not even consider Batman villains, who are mostly humans and can be crushed like an insect. While his exact power level may vary depending on the specific story arc, Zod is a force to reckon with. But Zod's strength is not his only asset. When combined with strategic thinking, military training, and relentless determination, Zod can literally move mountains and not die trying. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.